Hello, this is the Just Because Buzz, Thread Tales number 20. I'm Merritt Crawford, and thank you for joining me. Today is Monday, August 30th, 2021. I want to welcome you back to my channel, and I want to welcome new subscribers. Please hit that like button and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notification. I'm on my way to 600 subscribers, and I would love to reach that milestone to have another giveaway. Anyway, I'm so glad that you've joined me today. This has been a little bit delayed in getting filmed, but finally got everything organized, and hopefully we'll have a smooth filming process and uploading process, and you'll be able to sit back and enjoy it and watch and hopefully be inspired. So thank you again for joining me. It really means a lot, and I really enjoy reading your comments. So I would love for you to leave a comment, and love to visit with you and talk about stitching things and quilting and wool applique, all the things. So I'm going to get right into it. The first thing I want to share is some news, and it's really has to do with stitchy kindness. Last video I mentioned that I wanted to start collecting some of the Blackbird books, and one of my viewers reached out to me and said that she had purchased accidentally a couple of books in duplicates, and so she offered to send me one, and it was so kind of her, and I'm just overwhelmed with that kindness and appreciate it so much. And this is the book that she sent me, which was The Sewing Club by Blackbird Designs, and it had so many beautiful projects, and you've probably seen Kim the Contented Stitcher and many others stitching out of this book lately. And I've got a project that I started out of it as well that I'll show in a few minutes. So I didn't get permission to say who sent it to me, but I have sent them a thank you card, and I made her a project bag out of Blackbird fabrics, and she has received that. I'm so excited that she got it, and she loves it. And anyway, thank you so much. What a kindness. Just overwhelmed with that. And then the second kindness that I received since my last video is from the Carolina Stitcher and her husband, Kathy and Peter Firth. And Peter likes to do woodworking. Kathy is a quilter and a cross stitcher. And recently she posted on her Instagram feed some pieces that Peter had made for her, and I commented how beautiful they were. And she was curious as to whether I thought they could be something that people would like to purchase from them. And I thought, well, I think so, and I would be glad to share it on my Floss tube, that I could refer them to her Instagram account. And she said, well, how about if I send you some of his pieces? And I was just overwhelmed again. So again, you can go to her IG account, which is Carolina Cross Stitcher, and I will link it below, or at least put that below, and then also put her email address if you are interested in one of his products. So the first thing I'm going to show you is a scissor holder. Isn't it beautiful? It's made out of cherry wood, and in her note, the wood came from a family member's place on their property. So I was just thrilled. It has a place for you to put your scissors, and I just think it's beautiful. And then he signs the bottom of it. So thank you, Peter. It is just gorgeous. And then the second piece that they sent was this beautiful little bowl with a lid. And this is cedar. And there's the inside of the bowl and the lid. And it is beautiful. Thank you so much. And I would just love it if you all would go over to Kathy's Instagram account and look at the other pieces that Peter has made for her recently, including a frame that was just gorgeous. And and also contact her via the email that I'm going to put at the bottom or put in my notes. I would just love it if you went over there and showed them some love, ordered some of their pieces, and tell them that I sent you. And hello, Kathy and Peter. Thank you so much. What a gift. What treasures. I have some woodworkers in my family I had shared with Kathy, and so I really appreciate the workmanship and the craftsmanship that goes into making pieces like this. So thank you so much. And this is a sweet little card that Kathy sent too. So thank you, Kathy. Love the little pin, clothespin. All right. So, you know, in my videos, I like to share an old FFO. Sometimes it's my things, something that I've done, something that my mother or my mother-in-law or other family members. But this piece, I don't know who made. My daughter and I found it at an estate sale, and I've been wanting to share it with you, and I just kept forgetting. And this was just, I felt like such a great find, and I'm going to have to reach down and grab it real quick. So it's this gorgeous needlepoint stool. Isn't it so pretty? I just love it. We were in a home, I believe in Maumee, Ohio, and we were just walking around and it was on the floor, and she saw it and we both loved it. And it's in fantastic condition. We see some in antique stores sometimes that are way more expensive and not as in good a condition, and yet we found this one and it was in just wonderful condition, and we thought it was gorgeous, and it's such a treasure. So keep an eye out at those estate sales. Go to estatesale.net and look for places in your area that are having them. They're a lot of fun. Okay, I have some new FFOs. I'm kind of going fast today because I have a lot to share, and I want to try to get my videos back to a more manageable time frame. I don't want to have people click off if they get bored or if it's too long. So trying to kind of speed through. So this is a piece that I had Miss Paula at the craft gallery. She framed it for me, and this is by My Big Toe Designs. It's called It As Well, and this is the framed piece. And I just love how it turned out. I think it's beautiful. The frame was perfect. Miss Paula helped me pick it out. You've heard other floss tubers talking about getting their pieces framed and the length of time that it takes, but Miss Paula does a great job, and she really gets things turned around pretty quickly. Probably the biggest challenge she has is when we were picking out the frame, we had picked out a couple of others, and she calls before I left. She called before I left just to check to see if the frame was in stock, and one of them, the very first one that we picked out, it was already discontinued or not in stock anymore, and they weren't going to be able to get any more. So anyway, she does a great job, and I loved how this turned out. I think it's beautiful, and great job, Miss Paula. All right, some other finishes that I have. June cross stitch camp. So I've kind of fallen by the wayside with cross stitch camp. I didn't get an August one started, but that's okay. I've enjoyed watching other people get theirs started. But I did get some finishes on the previous cross stitch camp. So my June was this one, and so I finished it into a little pillow. Did some ruching with some biased seam binding tape. It's not biased actually, it's just seam binding tape, and used the navy, and then I backed it with some patriotic fabric, and I really like how that turned out. And then my July piece, finished that. And this is needle art by Wendy. I've already returned the pattern. I think that's right. I can go back and look at my notes real quick. Let's see. From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. I borrowed this from my friend Wanda, aka Louise. So, and then just finished it with this. It's kind of like a red ticking, but it's not. It's a cotton that has that red stripe. Put the little buttons up there. One of them has like a little star in it. I love how that turned out, that rickrack. And then the next piece that I finished, let's see, a needle book. So I don't know why I never got this posted for Tomato Tuesday, but I didn't. And this is out of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, and it's a Sub Rosa design, and I finished it into the little needle book. And if you close it up, this is the fabric that I chose to use. Kind of a vintage looking bee fabric. I love making needle books. So this was really a fun piece to stitch. And I used all DMC threads to stitch it. Okay, and the next one I did was in May. I did a Maybe Mania, meaning I stitched all things bees. And so I stitched this little Lizzie Kate, and this is the summer basket. And there's the little bee button. And I did a little rickrack trim on the edge and just did a big stitch in each little nook of the rickrack. Went all the way around. And then pretty fabric on the back. And this is a combination of DMC and the Weeks. This is the Weeks Begonia, which is a variegated kind of a pinky red. And then also used DMC. So I've stitched this before, stitched it for my friend Janann, and then wanted to stitch it for myself. And I think Louise now has the chart. There's a series of these. There's spring, summer, winter, and fall. I just have the summer. And then finally, I did a finish with Blackbird designs. And so this is designs, or these are designs that I found in the Winds of Autumn book, and I decided to make it into a pin pillow and stuffed it with crushed walnut shells, used some tatting, and it has like a little pocket that I can put some clips in if I want. And then this is some Blackbird design fabric on the back. And I'll show you where these designs are in the Winds of Autumn. And I used just some of the flosses that are in Winds of Autumn that I used in my Mighty Oak. These are all flosses left over from Mighty Oak, with the exception of Old Money. And if you recall, I used Old Money for my house. But the rest of them are called for colors that are used either in Mighty Oak or in patterns that are in the Winds of Autumn book. So I had joked about taking this book, since I started in the back and did the Mighty Acorn pattern, that I was going to start in the back and just work my way to the front. And so far, that's what I've done. So the designs in this picture here were all stitched with Weeks Dye Works mascara. But I decided to stitch them in colors and stitch them all on one piece. So maybe I could hold it so you can kind of see. So, and then decided to finish it in a pin pillow. And I really like how it turned out. So, and this is a piece of Blackbird fabric too, and I love how I was able to fuzzy cut the bird so it sits there too. So one of my favorite finishes. It's great for the dough bowl and pretty fall finish. All right. So now I'm going to move on to whips. So let's see. America Blackbird. Let's get to that one first. In my big strawberry bag, Lori Holt 12-inch block. And I'm working on America out of Souvenirs of Summer, which is this piece right here. I'm stitching it on a piece of 46 count. It is a piece I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using DMC 304. And there's my progress. I haven't gotten it ironed, I'm sorry. But it's 46 count. So it's coming along. Okay. And then the next piece is also says America. This is from Calico Confectionery. And if I can show you the pattern. This is the pattern. And my friend Rachelqstitches, who lives in Louisiana, whom I'm praying for, and all my Louisiana friends and family, including my sister who lives in New Orleans, praying for everybody this past Hurricane Ida yesterday. But Rachel Q is also stitching this, and she's further along than I am, but I am making some progress, and I've been able to get a lot of the stitching, adding the blue to the bottom right now. So it's coming along. I had a lot of squirrel moments over the last month, and you'll notice that because I'll have several starts. So I have a little Laura-itis, if you know what I mean. Laura and the cereal, or Brenda and the cereal starter. Laura, yeah, she's rubbing off on me. That's okay. All right, giving thanks. You all have been seeing me make progress on this, and this is a table mat for fall. And I am loving how this is coming out. It does have some personalization in it. I've made a few mistakes, but that's okay. We're getting there. So the top portion is done. Now I've moved down and I'm working on this acorn. There's a leaf that goes in here, a pumpkin that goes in here. Then there's a series of 3 acorns and then a turkey over here. So I really like how it's coming out. So that one, that back here. And then the next one, the Country Cottage Needleworks Summer Garden, I made no progress on, and neither did I make any progress on my name tag for my Stitching Guild. But with Sewing Club, that I got as a Stitchy Kindness, I did start something. And this is the one that I started. It's called Bit of Summer. And it's this drum. I've never made a drum. I had a piece of fabric that looked very similar to that color, and I thought, why not? Let's start it. So I've stitched the top, and I'm working on the top band, this part, and then I'll be working on the bottom, and then it'll be ready to turn into a drum. But I love how it's turning out, and the color looks pretty good. It's kind of a, I believe it's called Apple Blossom, and it's a 32 count, I think. I am using 2 threads over 2, and I'm using the called for DMCs. So the color palette, not able to see a lot of the colors, but it's the pinky rosy, a pretty green, pretty brown, a dark brown for the birds. Look at that little pink house. So I've enjoyed working on this. This piece right here is the top of the drum. So it's been a fun piece to work on, and it's small and been kind of quick. So that was my Sewing Club start. And then Louise had a birthday in August. And we're going to talk more about her birthday because I have sent her a few things that I'll probably insert pictures after this segment so you can see some other things that I made. Or maybe I'll do it after my finished FFOs because I made some things that I sent to her for her birthday and I wouldn't have them for this video. So anyway, But anyway, for birthday start for her, we decided to start this. Be kind. So it's interesting. I chose a bee chart for my birthday start, and she started and worked on it with me and finished it. And then she chose this one for her birthday. And this is in the 2021 Summer Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. And the Be Kind sampler is made by Teresa Miller of Teresa's Primitive Treasures. And it's like a little sampler. And I made some thread drops. I'm using the DMC. And these are some of the colors. It's only 6 colors. The others are these darker browns and kind of a grayish brown. And then I've got a little bit of progress on it. And I've made a little bit of a change. In the original pattern, there aren't any red tones in these flowers or buds. But I decided I wanted a little more red. In Teresa's original pattern, the tulips have red in them, and that's really the only place where you see red is right here in the tulips. But I wanted a little more red, so I decided every other bud I would make a red bud and add a little more color to mine. But that's the only change that I'm making. I'm using the Call for DMCs. She calls for Weeks Dye Works, and then she has a DMC conversion. So I'm using the DMC conversion. And I'm stitching it on, I believe it's a Edinburgh 36 count. I'm doing 1/1. So, again, these are the colors. Plus these two kind of darker colors. And it's really fun. I do enjoy stitching 1/2 on the 36 count, just using the one thread, and it's I hear people talk about that, and I like that too. It's very nice. Okay, and then I have another one. Colleen over at BeeCuzz was having a birthday, kind of a birthday donation where you could donate to a charity for animal rescue in Houston area, or you could go on her Facebook page. She had a little thing set up where you could look at some of the charts that she had for sale as a donation only, like, and then all the money went toward that same charity for the animals. And so I saw on there, I've been wanting an advent calendar, and I saw on there the Madame Chantilly advent calendar. And so for $5, I got all 25 patterns for the advent calendar. So there's 1 through 6. It's got like a little gingerbread, a little house, a little reindeer. This has a little package, a little tree, little girl, mittens, polar bear. The next one has a little horse, a little poinsettia, a little boy, ice skate, little bird. And then the final one has like a teddy bear, Rudolph, rocking horse, baby Jesus, Santa, a sled with presents on it, a little sheep. Just love them. So I started it, and I'm not sure I'm crazy about what I've chosen, so I'm just kind of playing with it. This is a piece of fabric that I already had, and so I was just kind of playing with it. With number 1, I'm stitching, it's a 30 count Murano. It's a Wedgwood color. Stitching 1/2. I'm okay with the coverage, so we'll see. I'm going to finish this one and just see if I like it. I may try another color fabric just to see if what I like better before I stitch them all. I do have another Christmas project that's in blue, and I thought it might be fun to stitch these on blue to kind of match that piece. So still just trying to decide. Okay, So that's all my stitching as far as cross stitch. So with wool applique, on the first Wednesday of every month, a friend of mine sent me this email that said, hey, they're doing Wool Wednesday with Riley Blake. If you sign up with their newsletter, the first Wednesday of every month, you'll get a wool pattern, a free one, from Buttermilk Basin. And I was like, oh, wow. So, it looks like this. This is like the front of the pattern, and this is the piece that you get pieces to stitch from. And you just have to sign up for the Riley Blake newsletter. You go on their site, Riley Blake Fabrics, I believe it is. I'll link it below. And then you kind of scroll down and there's a newsletter sign up, and you sign up for their newsletter, and then you can get access to this pattern. Well, I had an idea. The picture here shows, I don't know if you can see it very well. You can see this clip, but the background is a cutout wooden pumpkin with a little clip that holds the wool applique onto the pumpkin. So it looks like this is the stem. Well, I don't have one of those, and I didn't feel like I was going to buy one. And I got to thinking, well, what am I going to put my pumpkin on as a background? And I remembered last year, and you may remember this, I had started a wool applique sunflower on some recycled jean squares that I had made into like a quilt block, so to speak. And so this is my sunflower that I had stitched on the recycled jeans. And I just did 4-inch squares, 2 darks and 2 lights, and just, did them opposite corners of each other, and then stitched my sunflower on there. Well, I thought, well, I could do that with my pumpkin and just have a series of these blocks, and then I can figure out what I want to do with them. So this is my finished pumpkin, and I really like how it turned out. I do, this wool was a little bit darker than I wanted it to be, but it's really about all I had in my stash. It was either that or this really bright carrot orange, and that wasn't going to work. So I decided to just go with it. And I have my little blackbird and the sunflower, little coneflower leaf up here. And then I made my own stem. I just drew one out and added a stem to it. And used threads that were in my stash. So everything came out of my stash. Didn't buy anything new. And then recycled. Continued using my jeans to recycle. So I guess on Wednesday of this week, we'll get the next one, and so I'm excited to see what it's going to be. So, wool applique. So I'm working on wool on Wednesdays, and I shared that with Lisa over at Prince on Greenway, and she loved that idea, and so maybe others will join us on Wednesdays. We can stitch on wool and get some wool projects on the go and finished up. I have quite a few kits and other wool projects that I'd love to finish, so it's a great day to do it. Wool Wednesday. And then kind of quickly moving on here, I wanted to make a stitching map for when I go to my Blackbird design retreat. So I've been working on that, so I'm going to turn and grab that real quick. Move a couple of things first, and then I'll show you. So my idea was it would travel in a roll, and I would tie it up with ribbons. And then when you open it up, it would be kind of like an oversized placemat. And so this is what I came up with. And what I did is I used a block out of the panel for Strawberry Honey. And Strawberry Honey is a Riley Blake design, and this is the fat quarter, or excuse me, the charm pack that comes with Strawberry Honey. And so this is actually part of a panel. This piece right here is part of a panel. And then I used some extra fabric that I had purchased to go on the sides. And then this is also Strawberry Honey fabrics. Okay, So what I did was, so far I've added my rings here for my floss. I did 9. And I'm not quite done. I'm going to add a little pocket here that I can put a index card or some kind of card in, that I can have 9 little spots to tell what threads I'm using. And then on this side, I also will likely add some pockets, maybe for eyeglasses and for scissors. And then up at this top corner, I'm going to make a pin cushion, kind of like this, a hexagon pin cushion, using this bee that was also part of that big panel from Strawberry Honey. And it is going to fit in this piece of milk glass that I found at an estate sale that is perfect for it. So I made this as a template to see how well it fit, and it's a little bit small. So I'm still working on my idea of how to get this piece, my little bee, to work as the top of the pin cushion to fit in here. And then this will sit on the corner of my stitchy mat at the retreat. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun to get it finished and hopefully have a good stitchy spot and just enjoy looking at it as I'm stitching. And I enjoyed quilting. This was a good way to practice your free motion quilting. If you're not used to it, get a panel that already has a design on it and stitch. I stitched in the flowers, I stitched around. I did do some little curly cues and flowers on the outside, but stitch the veins. It's a good way to practice, so give it a try. So that's one idea for my stitchy mat. And then the next idea for stitchy mat, I had some Blackbird fabrics, and so I'm working on these. This is one of them, and then this is the other. I had a charm pack. This is from an old line, and I happened to find, thankfully, this was just a neat thing. I was in the craft gallery when I was picking up my It As Well, and one of the ladies there that makes project bags said she knew of a shop out in Nebraska called the Quilted Moose that had some Blackbird fabrics. And I was able to go on there and see if they had any Blackbird fabrics from this line. And they did. And I'm going to use that for the backing. So this is kind of part of my haul, but I'll go ahead and show it. So this is one of them. And this one. And this one. Nice stripe for the binding. And this is, I'm trying to remember what the name of this fabric. I think it's Wild Rose. Yes, this is Wild Rose. Those 3 that I just showed you are Wild Rose. And then these are from some other lines that they had that I thought were pretty. And so purchased those as well. So I'm going to eventually have a couple of more mats made, and I'll just see how well they're received, and I may offer those as on my D-Stash page on my Instagram and see if folks would be interested in purchasing them, or you can let me know in the comments. So the other thing I did quilting wise is the quilt behind me is a quilt that it's been in the works for a long time, and I did work on this block. I added the rickrack up here. It wasn't on there, so I had to kind of unstitch this and unstitch here, add the rickrack, and then stitch it back together. And then I did some buttonhole stitching around some of the flowers and the leaves. And then this block is pretty much done. When the quilt is quilted and finished as far as the quilting part, then it does have some buttons that go here and over here. But I'm not going to be adding the buttons until the quilting is done. So I was happy to get that done, and then I was able to purchase some brown thread that matches the piece up here where I need to do more of the blanket stitch on this block right here where my finger is. So happy to get that in the works. Then I've been working on some project bags, and I mentioned I had made one for the friend that sent me the book, so I made a Blackbird for her. And then for Louise's birthday, I sent her a kit so we could make one together. And this is the one that we made together. And I already have some Blackbird Reward of Merit in there, but I'll take them out so you can see the design and the... So there's that one. And Louise and I had a great time one Friday FaceTiming and making these together. And this is some fabric I found at a store in Ohio. This is Chelsea's Boutique, and it is by Blackbird. And so I was excited to use that. And so, fun. Then made a zipper pull and used some silk ribbon from Silk Ribbon Embroidery to add my little cross. And like I said, this is, I'm using the Reward of Merit, using it as my bag for the Reward of Merit patterns that I'm going to be stitching. And then I needed to make a bag for my stitching guild, and we do an auction in September, and they ask that you make a donation. So I thought, okay, I'll make a donation and stitch a bag. I'll do a project bag. And I had some orphan blocks from this quilt right here, which is one of my very favorite quilts. And it's got this really cool basket on it. And it comes from this book, My Red Sofa by Terry Atkinson. Now, when I see this quilt, it doesn't do a lot for me. But one day I was in Jacksonville, Florida, and you may have heard Carol, Saltbox Stitchers, talk about the old green cupboard that she used to work at. Well, I was in that store one day and I saw this quilt. I was like, wow, I love that quilt. And I even took a picture of part of it. And I said, what book is that in? And she said, oh, I think it's in this book over here. So she went and got the book. And I was like, I have that book. And so there is a quilt similar in the book. It's just you have to flip through the pages and see it. So anyway, I proceeded to say, okay, I definitely want to make this quilt. So made this quilt. It's one of my favorites. I think it won 2nd or 3rd place one time in a show in Dothan, Alabama. But had some orphan blocks left over. So have a yellow one left over, and there's a green one. And the background is a red polka dot, and then another green one. So these 3 green ones may be made into a table runner. We'll see. But the first bag I made was this one. And I thought it turned out really cute. And then I used this back. And so it's about a 10 by 12, something like that. And then the bag that I made for the auction is going to be this one. And I thought it turned out really cute. And I love the fabric on the back. So I'm excited that that's going to be something that someone will bid on. And I did a little ladybug and a little beading and a little key. So if you're in the kindred spirits, this is a bag that you'll be able to bid on. So that was fun. Also, one day last week, Katie and I did one of Cassidy's from Lori Holt's YouTube. We watched Cassidy make one of these, and we made a pull too out of yarn. So that was fun. All right, so next I want to talk about floss drops. We've seen Mama Loves You GB, and she has started the floss drop trade using business cards and taking a photo that is public domain or your own photo, sending the photo and making business cards out of it. Well, I didn't think I wanted to do that, not because I didn't like it. I just thought there might be something else I could do. And then it popped in my head, I love calendars and I save calendars. Well, I went down and looked in through my paper goods, and sure enough, I had calendars that I had saved. So let me share that with you. I got my Cricut out and I started fussy cutting calendars. And the first calendar that I cut was this Marjolaine basting. And she also has cross stitch pieces. And you may have seen Pam from Pam and Steph stitching a Marjolaine basting. But anyway, gorgeous, gorgeous watercolor, just beautiful. And she was a licensed artist for Hallmark. So the first one that I did, first set that I did, were these. And I fussy cut them off of that calendar I just showed you. And so if I can get them closer. And it's just nature or little birds. And what I did, I looked at several tutorials. For this calendar, I sprayed the back with a spray adhesive and sprayed another piece of cardstock with spray adhesive and then glued them together, let them sit, and then cut them as one piece and on the Cricut. And then I punched this out and punched the top hole out. Look at that one with the bee. I love that one. So these are all from the Marjolaine basting. Look at that cardinal. Isn't that pretty? And sometimes you just kind of have to get creative and just cut one of the butterfly, but we have part of the bird there. This is like a painted fence. Part of a meadow and a fence. The wall. And a little bird, isn't he cute? Another bird eating berries. So it's just fun to do. So those were the Marjolaine basting. So then I started looking at some of my other calendars that I had, and I had some Lang calendars. And you may be familiar with those, and I've kept some of those as well. I've kept, this is a 2016, this is a 2014 in the kitchen. And so I was able, out of a similar calendar to this one, I was able to cut probably over 100 tags. And these I did a little bit differently. Because they were thicker, I cut them first, cut a piece of cardstock, and then glued them together with a just good old Elmer's glue stick. And then put them under a weighted mat or book so that they would seal good. And then the hole punch that I use is this one, whoops, for this hole right here. And then I can use this for the top. Or the Cricut actually will cut this hole for me. So all I have to do is cut this one. If I wanted to cut another little one, I could cut one here for just a smaller leftover piece of floss. But just some really fun colors here, or punches here. That's like from the Valentine's page. This is some, like a sea bucket. Fall. I mean, it was just such a fun thing to come up with, and to be able to recycle these calendars that I love so much that I wasn't enjoying because they were just tucked away, and now I've made floss drops out of them and I can enjoy them. Little teacups, little sunflower, just a lot of fun. The daisies. This was from Valentine. So anyway, I would encourage you to think about upcycling. If you are like me and you keep too much, maybe you could come up with an idea to upcycle calendars or whatever for floss drops. And if anybody wants to trade, I'd be happy to trade. I've already traded with Barbara, a friend of mine. And let me show you what she sent. She sent these, and I love it. It's actually a piece that she, let's see, that was a gift, but it's hers, and someone else had stitched it for her, but it's at her house, and she took a picture of the vignette and then made it enter the card so we could make a floss drop. So that was fun to receive that. So if anybody wants to trade, let me know. And I have plenty more calendars to cut more from, so that's pretty fun. All right. Then I've been to several estate sales, and I've showed you a little bit with my milk glass. had another piece that I found that I thought was really pretty. I am having trouble finding my little lace edge candy dishes. I actually have an order for one, and I'm having trouble finding one locally. So anyway, I'll just keep looking, and if I can find more and get some more made and get a tutorial made. Lisa with Prims on Greenway wanted me to do a tutorial, and if I can get some more little ones that I can do a tutorial with, I'd be happy to do that, but I've sold all of them. So anyway, another sweet thing that I found was this, and I gifted this to my friend Louise, and I was decided to not mail it to her for her birthday, but that I would hand deliver it when we get to see each other again because of the nature of. So I got cut off. My daughter called. So anyway, I was talking about some estate sale finds and the sewing machine for my friend, and found this little tin. This is not really old, but found this little Singer tin for her. And then another estate sale that I went to, I found this vintage frame for $1, and has an old wedding photo in it. I have no clue who they are, but loved the frame detail on it. Thought a Blackbird would look pretty in there. So got that. And then same estate sale, was able, or actually this was, nope, same estate sale, was able to get the ladies button box, so that was fun. Still have yet to really go through them, so I need to do that. And then last week I found, if anybody follows Kathy Holden, she is a Moda fabric designer, and she had just recently shown a little chair that she took and added needlepoint to it and made a little pincushion. And I found this little chair, and it was 40% off in an antique shop. And so I thought, oh, how fun that would be, since I'm into pincushions. So got this little wooden chair, so I'll be working on it a little bit. So just some fun finds lately. I would just encourage you, anytime you go to an estate sale, just to look through everything, as long as it's safe and all. I did find and saved some stitches at a recent estate sale that was in my little town even, which was the first for me. I thought this was cute. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. And this little cross stitch. And then this one. So peace. It's hard to see the top of the letters for peace. Joy, laughter. May they always dwell here. So I thought that was a sweet little piece. So I enjoy estate sales, as you know, and just get on estatesales.net in your area, and you can personalize it to how far you're willing to travel. You can tell it how many miles you're willing to go out from where you live, and just follow the guidelines of whatever the estate sale notes say. At the top of each sale, it'll say, you know, if they're requiring mask, or, you know, whatever they require. It tells you what kind of payment they can accept. Trying to think what else. It usually gives a description, and then it has all the pictures. So just, you have to just kind of go with a mindset that if you're not the first in line, you may not get what you want. You didn't have it before you went, so you may not have it when you leave. And if you go with that mindset, and that it's just kind of fun, a hobby, then a lot of times you do get to find a treasure or two. And so if you think you might like that kind of thing, give it a try. I did find a few little charts that I purchased. This is the Buzzy Bee string by Lizzie Kate, and so I picked that up at the craft gallery, and picked the stitch cards up by Lori Holt. Every now and then Joann's has these, and you can use your coupon and get them for a good deal. So pick that up. And then this was just something, 50-cent chart that I found at our local animal shelter, and I really liked the little bee skep with the trees. I thought it was cute. I got those, and I always want to leave you with an encouraging word. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm going to leave you with Psalms 91, 1 and 2. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Thank you for joining me today. I want to also let you know that our winner, I will, for my giveaway for my 500 subscribers, which was for this cute little chart, Yummy, and I bought the floss to go with it, and it's, the winner was Charge 57. Congratulations, and I'll put the picture up where I did the random comment YouTube comment generator, the picker thing. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I've got that done, so I'll comment on Charlotte's comment, and I'll get that shipped out to her. Hope you have a great week, and hopefully it won't be as long before I make it back, but at least I have quite a few things to show you when I do get a video made. So, and tell your friends. I hope to grow my channel, and I would love for you to tell others about it. Annie, the proper stitcher, I've enjoyed watching her lately. I'll give her a little shout out. She's just gone crazy with subscriptions and just doing so well, and she's also a gal from Louisiana, so I feel a little kindred spirit there. And so anyway, thank you for joining me, and I'll sign off now. Bye.